Now, you might be surprised at this. I know my producer Leanne was. You were surprised, weren't you?
Very surprised.
When she saw a notice about it in the doctors, but eating grapefruit can have a noticeable extra effect on some medicines you might be taking. But why? And is it perhaps one of our 5 a day that we might want to avoid? Let's hear from pharmacist Matt Leedam from Leedam's Pharmacy in Colne. What effect can it have?
Good morning, Nick. Well, basically, what the grapefruit does, you have enzymes in your gut which break down all sorts of things, the food that you eat, and it can also help break down some of the medicines before it actually gets into your system. And so what happens as a result, the grapefruit blocks these enzymes working, so you end up with potentially more of the medicine being absorbed into your system, which can lead to a greater effect of that medicine, which can be a good thing, but it can also lead to more side effects of that medicine as well, because you've got more in your bloodstream.
So what medicines are we talking about here?
There are various ones that it can affect, but there are 2 groups that we're most concerned about. And one is the statins, the infamous statins. There are a couple of those that can be affected by grapefruit juice. And also a group of medicines called calcium channel blockers, which are used to treat high blood pressure and angina, and they can also be affected by grapefruit juice.
I'm not being funny here, but grapefruit have been around for a while now. Why don't we know about this?
Well, it's something that was discovered purely by chance when they were doing a study on one of the calcium channel blockers that I just mentioned, and they were actually looking at the effects of alcohol on this particular medicine, and they were using grapefruit juice to mask the taste of the alcohol. And they found during this study that the grapefruit juice actually increased the levels of this particular medicine.
Now, I like a glass of grapefruit juice, just a glass. Is that likely to cause this effect? Or are you talking about, frankly, drinking 2 litres of the stuff?
It's the studies that have been done have generally used larger volumes of grapefruit juice. But the thing to be mindful of is that because grapefruit and grapefruit juice is a natural product, there's no standardisation of it, so the effects can be very unpredictable.
I'm really surprised at this, because this was a little notice in a doctor's surgery, and no one's saying any more about it. And I've been in the chemist, and when I've picked up a medicine in the chemist, no pharmacist has said, "You're not on grapefruit as well, are you?"
Well, I would suggest then perhaps you've had a medicine that grapefruit doesn't cause a problem with.
So they would know about it and they would bring it up?
Absolutely,
so
yes.
The hope is that pharmacists are, when people pick up their medicines, the pharmacists are taking an active role in that and taking responsibility for it. But it's not just grapefruits and statins and calcium channel blockers that are the problems. There are other fruits that have problems as well, aren't there?
Well, there's some evidence to suggest that cranberry juice can have an effect with warfarin, which is a drug that's used to thin the blood, and that can sometimes increase the effects of the warfarin, so you do need to be careful. And there are other foods that have effects as well. Milk can affect certain... Milk, yes, milk. The calcium in milk can actually affect the absorption of certain antibiotics, so if you're taking certain antibiotics, you do need to be careful that it's not one of those that you have to avoid milk at the same time as you take the antibiotic, because the calcium in the milk can actually grab hold of the antibiotic and stop it getting into your system, so
Matt,
it doesn't work.
Frankly, I'm petrified.
Please don't be petrified. Please don't. Any concerns that you have, any of your listeners, any concerns that they've got, please talk to their pharmacist. We have a wealth of information at our fingertips.
But you're going to be there for about 3/4 of an hour if you're going to be standing there telling me, oh, by the way, you can't have milk, you can't have cranberry juice, you can't have grapefruit juice. There must be so many things. That's a huge extra responsibility for pharmacists.
It's something that we've always done. We've always pointed out to patients, be careful with this, you need to watch out for this, you need to take this particular antibiotic before food, because food in general can stop the absorption of various medicines. And likewise, food can also increase the absorption of various medicines. So it's used both ways, but there's absolutely nothing to be frightened of. Your pharmacist will tell you if there's anything that you need to be aware of.
Wow. Matt Leedam, thank you very much indeed for coming on and clearing all that up. So be careful of that grapefruit, careful of the milk, careful of the cranberry juice, but don't worry about it too much, because your pharmacist, maybe your GP, will tell you about those sort of things. If you're going to be the problem, if you're affected by that, then they will actually get in touch with you and let you know about that. But worrying, isn't it? What else is worrying you about the fruit in your fridge?